say than that. But
Is there a good chance we might see a bear?
around this time of year, there is a chance of seeing some. Especially when we go to Minnewanka, there is some chance of seeing some wildlife.
So do you have anything like a weapon to defend?
For a weapon? Oh, actually, I got bear spray.
Oh, that's it?
Well, it's like repellent. You got to spray it on yourself. And it's like
I
mosquito
thought you
repellent.
sprayed at the bear's eyes.
Oh, you spray it on yourself.
You spray on yourself.
Yeah, it's like mosquito repellent. I'm just kidding. But you know, I had a girl in the store once told me
You don't
that
have a
her
rifle?
rifle. Oh, no.
Shotgun, please calm down.
No, don't worry. But honestly, bears pretty scared of humans around here. It's pretty common that they any bears that pose a risk to humans that get really close or that attack humans, they will kill them. So when they kill those animals, the other animals, or like the other bears, they kind of understand to stay away from humans. So naturally, the ones that are left alive in the park will sort of understand to stay away from humans. Those are the ones that naturally understand. But there are only about 60 grizzly bears here in the park, and they tag and track all of them. Yeah. So, but black bears are pretty common. They don't really tag those. They're pretty non-aggressive.
This is the Bolivar Falls.
Let him tell you first.
I like the suspense, actually. Keep going. I'm just kidding. No. So, did you guys know that Alberta is the only habitable, rat-free landmass in the entire world? We do not have rats in the province of Alberta.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Not at all. I never tell a lie.
Wait, do we have snakes?
Yeah, we got like small gardener snakes.
You're right.
Do they go in toilets?
Debatable, right? Because you don't know people's homes. What if they have rats?
I know.
No,
Oh yeah, there's a mouse in our old house before.
See, we used to have mice too.
Yeah,
Debatable.
prairie mice are native
Well, we
here,
don't live in
but
Canada, but.
no. Hand to God. Official. You do not have rats. You guys
Do the snakes often come up into toilets?
Well, no.
That's what I'm worried
all
about.
they have is little gardener snakes. They're like glorified worms.
Oh, they're like
Honestly,
really small.
yeah, very tiny. I mean, we do in the desert around.
And they don't bite, right?
We do have rattlesnakes. Not here, but if you go to the desert, Drumheller, about an hour and a half east of Calgary, there are like rattlesnakes there. Pretty rare to see one though, and they've never once killed a person in Alberta.
Okay.
So. And they also have scorpions as well. They're bioluminescent too.
Isn't that in Texas?
Yeah. Alberta is just, Texas in the north pretty much. Yeah. Are you guys curious why we don't have rats, by the way?
Yeah, why?
Yeah?
Why? Because it's so cold?
Because it's so cold? No, they actually have rats in the Yukon and Northwest Territories, much further north than Calgary. The reason why is because, well, as you guys might know, globalization started happening here in Canada about the 19th century. A lot of the ports that started bringing on the ships rats. From the Vancouver ports, they were making their way up east, but they couldn't traverse the Rocky Mountain terrain, so it was safe for a very long time. Till about the 1950s, when the rats made their way from the eastern ports out here to Saskatchewan, the Alberta government, they decided to do something for the first time ever in a government's history. They formed a government organization called the Rat Patrol. It's a dedicated government organization entirely reserved for hunting, trapping, and preventing the spread of rats here in Alberta. What they do is they employ these various border security measures on the eastern and the southern border that attract, trap, and kill rats before they make their way into populated areas. is. Because as you guys might know, once you have a rat problem, literally impossible to get rid of them. Just 2 rats could rid about 1,300 by the end of the calendar year. So you got to make sure you prevent them from being a thing in the first place. And rats here in the province of Alberta, a very big deal. It's actually highly illegal to bring a rat here in the province of Alberta. Results about a $5,000 fine per rat. And if you find a rat here in the province of Alberta, dead or alive, you're to call the police immediately. It's very serious.
The police.
Yeah. Last time they found a rat here in Alberta, they found a dead rat on the outskirts of Calgary now in 2013, and they had shut down the city. Military guards at all the entrances.
Why?
I don't believe
I'm just kidding, it wasn't that good. But they did quarantine off the area and do an official investigation as if it was a homicide, determine where that rat came from and prevent that from ever happening again. So rats here in the province of Alberta, it's like a once in a decade event. Yeah, we've been rat free for over 70 years thanks to the Rat Patrol.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a really good thing. That's the number one problem that homeowners across the world have to deal with. So, you guys can't see your flights home yet or what?
Do they give you a reward for reporting a rat?
Yeah.
No. You
Or
just,
like a raise or something?
I mean, I would say your reward is just not having to deal with rats in general. I think that's plenty of reward. Yeah.
True.
True, very true. But yeah, and the Rat Patrol, they actually showed up to this year's, or last year's Calgary Stampede Parade dressed up like Ghostbusters.
That's cute.
Alright folks, we are now heading to Lake Minnewanka. Well, TwoJack Lake, actually, our first stop before that. We'll be there in roughly about 15 minutes. I'll tell you more in a little bit. Let me know, and I can slow down and possibly stop to get us a better look if it's safe to do so. But make sure you actually let me know though. Don't just be like, oh, go ahead, there's a bear.
Is it possible to tame a bear?
To tame a bear?
Yeah.
It's possible, I guess. You know, there's actually this one story, or this one bear from World War II. You ever heard of Wojtek the bear?
No.
Wojtek, during World War II, there was this bear. Did you see a bear?
No.
There was this bear who was given to this Polish artillery platoon by some random stranger. They bought it off him for like a couple chocolate bars or whatever, and they would feed the bear, you know, their rations and stuff. And oddly enough, the bear liked to eat smokes too. He liked to eat cigarettes. Yeah, they would feed him cigarettes. He'd also drink.
Like cocaine bear.
Not quite like cocaine bear, but he was pretty radical for sure. And then eventually when he grew up, he was tamed and he actually helped on the front lines. What he would do is he would actually run from the back line, grabbing shells of artillery, and then bring it to the front line.
This is World War II, right?
Yeah, World War II. Yeah, and he actually got a medal for his service in the war, and eventually was promoted to the rank of
That's
corporal.
nice.
And then after the war, they retired him to a zoo in England. And every year, his platoon mates would visit him in the zoo, and they would like wrestle him and stuff. They like to wrestle. He would like to wrestle with his platoon.
Oh yeah, wrestle a bear.
Yeah, they would wrestle. Yeah. So yeah, bears are tameable, but I still would recommend it. Now, just in case we do encounter a bear, does anybody know what to do if we encounter a bear outside of the vehicle?
Don't make eye contact.
No, not quite.
Be bigger.
No.
Run away.
No, if you run away, then they'll chase you.
Hands up and make noise.
All you have to do is run faster than the slowest person.
Oh.
That's
I'm just
true.
kidding. Yeah.
No, but you could do that.
Yeah, I guess.
You can also hide behind a tree.
That would work. Yeah, bears are pretty good.
I thought they had bad eyesight.
No. I mean, these trees, come on. Like, the very
Yeah,
skinny
they're
trees.
too skinny.
Yeah. Now, it's a different saying for each type of bear, as this old saying goes. If it's black, fight back. Black bears are very docile. They usually back away from a fight. If you make yourself look big, loud, and scary, they'll usually just run away. If it's brown...
Play dead, right?
Well, if it's brown, lay down. Grizzly bears, they do not want to eat you. They just want to kill you.
Oh
So
my
you lay
God.
down flat on your face. You cuff your neck with your hand like this to protect your neck. And you hope and pray to God it eventually thinks you're dead and leaves you alone.
You don't have a bear mace?
Oh, I have a bear mace on. But I only got one. So if you guys wander off, you know, kind of you.
Okay, I'll stick with you.
Yeah.
But don't let the bear eat you.
Yeah, pretty much. Come on. Yeah. And then, of course, if it's white, good night. Polar bears will literally eat bones. You're screwed if you encounter a polar bear. Yeah. But
What about a sun bear?
there are no polar. Oh, sun bears. They live kind of on the west coast of Canada.
Indonesia. They mostly live in
Oh,
Indonesia.
yes. I'm thinking of the spirit bear. Yeah. There's another bear. It's like a white, sort of smaller bear, kind of similar to sun bear. What lives on the west coast of Canada. But yeah, there are sun bears as well. Not sure about sun
Brown
bears.
bears and grizzly bears are the same thing.
Yeah, oh no, not brown bears and grizzly bears. Brown bears are just a different species of black bear. You'll be able to tell it's a grizzly bear because it's.
I heard something about
Yeah.
someone saying a scientific fact that brown bears are basically grizzly bears, right?
No, they're more related to black bears.
Oh.
Yeah. Grizzly bears, they have a big hump on their back. They're a lot bigger than brown bears and black bears. Yeah, but brown bears, black bears, black bears, very similar sort of middle of the ground like shape.
Right. Okay, Rich.
But yeah, so this area, a lot of the bears, they migrate from on top of the mountain. They leave their cubs alone here when they are about 2 years old. They've officially become yearlings. And they've sort of foraged and fend for themselves over the springtime and the summertime. They've survived and they learn the ways of the bear. They then prepare for hibernation and then migrate their way back up the mountains to rejoin the other bears for hibernation. So that's why this very area is very common to see bears, because the bears that are usually in this area are much younger and they're kind of not really accustomed to humans yet, so they kind of have a bit of a curiosity to them. So they will kind of sometimes hang around the roads and such. So,
If there is a bear, we'll just run back in the car.
I wouldn't run. I wouldn't run. Like I said, if it's black, fight back. Make yourself look big and loud and scary. Grizzly bears, like I said, there's only 60 in the park. So super rare to encounter them. Yeah. And they track them as well, so if they do get closer to human populations, they will like tranquilize it and then bring it like hours and hours away, deeper into the mountains, away from any humans.
How many buckshot does it take to kill a bear?
To kill a bear?
More likely a grizzly bear.
Well, I can't really speak from personal experience, but yeah, if you ever see one of these park wardens hanging around, they're the guys with the vests and the green, the kind of the cops. They're federal police force in the national parks. They probably killed a bear before.
Cause I played a game. A lot of like you're in like a free world, and then when you're like up north, like how many shots does it take to kill a bear? Or, like mostly in the head, probably.
এটা হচ্ছে ব্যানফে টুজেক লেক। লেকের পাড়ে বরফ জমে আছে ভিতরে, মানে যথেষ্ট বরফ আছে। বরফ জমে আছে, এখনো গলে নাই। See water over there, water over there. এইদিকে পানি আছে বরফ না Lake Minnetonka, TwoJack Lake.
Line at its widest point. And this lake is man-made. Yeah. It used to be 1/4 the size as it is today. During World War II, there was a coal mining settlement alongside the lake. The Canadian government, they wanted to gravitate away from coal mining because of its scarcity at the time and gravitate to more renewable energies such as hydropower. So they used the War Act to buy up the town for very cheap, flood the area using a dam that is now used for hydropower. So this lake used to be 1/4 the size you'll see here today. Now, Lake Minnewanka is a very popular lake. This is the only lake in Banff National Park you can use a motorized watercraft on. So anything gas-powered, electric-powered, you can use right here. Everywhere else, you can only canoe, kayak, things of that nature. Now, Lake Minnewanka translates directly into the local indigenous language, into the Lake of Spirits. A lot of early European settlers used to call this Devil's Lake. So a lot of people would disappear into the lake. Even just yesterday, I lost like 3 people here. I'm just kidding. You guys want to know the real story behind that name?
Yes.
As long as one person says yes. Now, about 100 years ago, the settlers of the mining town of Lake Minnewanka, they said they were gathered around the lake, and they said they saw swirling in the lake, and then a giant monster tail come up and then down into the water. So there was a rumor going around, a legend, that there was a monster in the lake. So this guy, he had an idea. He went up to the locals and he told them, I killed the monster, and he's on the other side of the lake. If you want to see him, 5 cents a look. So we charge people 5 cents, bring them off the other side, show them this monster quickly underneath this sheet for about 5 seconds, cover it back up and go. You want to see him again? Another 5 cents. He made himself a living off this. Quite the fortune indeed, all the way up until his death. And then his daughter inherited all of his stuff and found the monster to be a build-your-own monster kit from Japan, where they took these various dead animal parts, they fused them together, and created your own unique creature. So it had the torso of a monkey, the tail of a bass, and the spines were made out of elephant tusks. He even kept the receipt. Yeah. Now you could actually find this monster in the Banff town site. If you go across the main bridge over the Bow River and then immediately to the right, you'll find a building called the Banff Trading Post. That is where the Lake Minnewanka monster sits on display.
What's that lake on the right?
Which lake on the right? This one?
Yeah.
That's Minnewanka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as far as the eye can see. This lake's actually 4 times larger than what you guys see over here. Now, the best spot to get photos of this lake, by the way, guys, if you go on the right at the end of the beach, there's this little hill you go over, and then there's a cliff. Very beautiful place to get a
We
photo.
can walk on the ice.
I wouldn't. Remember the #1 rule when it comes to walking on ice. You first. I'm just kidding. Not you specifically, but always make sure you're never the first one to walk. So, that's kind
Why are
of
those people on the ice?
There's other people on there. It's on the shallow end. I mean, over there, you'll probably at most get like maybe your foot submersion water, but I wouldn't go walking in the middle. Like I said, 70 meters. So, and you know, there's a monster. It's like,
Can we go to this platform here?
which platform? That?
The house.
I wouldn't. It's
How thick is the ice?
How thick is this ice?
Yeah.
Not very thick this time of year. But in the winter time, you could actually, like the ice gets so thick, you can literally drive a semi-truck across it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is the Lake Minnetonka. হালকা হালকা বৃষ্টি পড়তেছে
I've seen a black bear here, but I don't know on the side of the road. So
Where are all the bears and everything? Are they hiding?
most of them hide up at the top of the mountains. They usually only come out at night. And then the baby bears, the really young ones that they leave here, those just chill in the forest. But you know, they get a little bit scared because they're not very big.
So how are they supposed to defend themselves if they don't know any of their parents?
The ones that figure it out, those are the ones that live and then get to rejoin the other bears. The other ones, they just don't make it. That's the summary.
Why so many trees are uprooted?
So many trees are uprooted?
Yeah.
Well, the trees naturally, they die. Then Parks Canada just leaves it because that's the natural way that
What are
forests
uprooted?
are. It just means there's lots of trees on the floor, forest floor.
Oh.
But also, Parks Canada, if they find a tree that's about to fall, they cut it down.
Timber!
Yeah, so that, you know, it doesn't hurt someone if they're going hiking around or whatever.
Do they scream timber?
I'm not sure. Never really seen them cut down any like that in areas where there's no people. Or doing it at times when there's no people.
Beware when someone yells timber in the woods.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we can't get out and take a picture, right?
Well, if you want to end up on the news, you know,
Yeah, if you
Okay,
want to end up in
fine.
the hospital.
well,
I took a good picture.
okay.
People eat them?
Not here. But,
Those ones just sitting there like
yeah, they're
not
chilling.
moving at all.
Yeah.
So why is his butt so
Big, so they weigh up to 1,000 pounds.
Do they absorb like bullets?
I don't know if they absorb it, but
Would the bullets go into them?
yeah, of course.
They don't
Yeah.
deflect off.
I don't think there's any animal other than like an armadillo maybe that deflects bullets. So,
Armadillos are all the way in Texas,
yeah,
basically.
far away from here.
Hey, you're talking about moose back then.
Yeah,
Do moose actually exist?
yeah, of course.
So it's not like an extinct animal yet.
Nope, they're alive and well.
Yay. Happy.
গাইস এই ভিউটা দেখেন কি সুন্দর ব্যাম সিটি দেখা যাচ্ছে পিছনে রকিস ভয় লাগতেছে আসলে এখান থেকে কেন জানি ঢালু গলায় পড়ে গেলে বাঁচানোর কেউ নাই Man, Rockies.
Mommy, there's poop here.
এইখানে ভিউটা এত সুন্দর জমে বরফ হয়ে গেছে লেক এইখানে হচ্ছে গিয়ে বরিবার Banff City, Rockies.
Is there anything on the right side or more on the left side?
Usually probably be on the right side a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, William, look for bears.
Yeah, and then you can get out, take a picture of the bear, run back in if you can even make it back in.
So you guys travel a lot, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So why do you guys actually lived, like,
We live in New York.
okay.
Yeah.
You live here?
No, Winnipeg.
Oh, Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's in Manitoba.
Oh. See, Mom, why can't we live in Canada?
What?
Why can't we live in Canada?
If you want to for college.
Oh, no, Canada, but I want to live in Hong Kong.
High school will be cheaper. You can go to college here.
There's not even good colleges.
No, they have very good stuff. Queens College is good.
Like a good portion of the doctors in America, they get their schooling in Canada.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. And all the schools mean the same thing. There's no such thing as that.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Hong Kong? Oh my God, there's rock slide coming down here.
Sometimes. You're coming up on the left of here, guys. You're going to see Vermilion Lakes. A very popular lake structure here in the park because of
You've
the
been here,
dark.
right?
We'll be seeing it from the lookout. Yeah. It's a very popular lake structure here in the park because of the dark reflective nature of these lakes. It actually reflects the moon, the stars, and the reflection of these lakes as if it was a mirror. It's a very beautiful thing to see. A lot of amazing photography is taken here. And I remember seeing one photo. I couldn't believe this was real, but I'm sure it was 100% real and authentic and not Photoshop. I remember seeing one photo of the entire Milky Way galaxy reflected in the reflection of these lakes. It's absolutely insane. I heard it took the photographer quite a while to get that photo. Literally 6 months of him going back and forth between Calgary and Banff until he got every single weekend, until he got the right conditions where there's not a cloud in the sky, but also no wind at all affecting the stillness of this water. Now, I'd like to mention a little bit of a legend that lives around these parts. He traverses a terrain of about 2,500 square kilometers across Banff and Banff National Park. And a lot of people, a lot of the locals, they like to refer to him as the boss. He's a 700-pound grizzly bear that most frequents Vermilion Lakes. And if you want to see him, you can rent a canoe from the Banff Canoe Club for about $50 a day. You can float down these lakes and rivers. And if you float in the middle of Vermilion Lakes all day, you have a fair chance of seeing him. But just be warned, this is not one bear you want to encounter. Because this bear is actually most notably known because he's been hit by a train twice and survived. So definitely don't get close to him. He's very legendary. He's also cannibalistic too. He's eaten the other bears, and that might be the reason why he's responsible for about 60% of the grizzly bear population here in Banff National Park. Now currently he's experiencing a little bit of opposition from this one young challenger that goes by the name Split Lip. They call him that because his top jaw and his bottom jaw sort of separate a little bit, likely due to a fighting related injury. And oftentimes, yeah, he's another bear. They often fight the whole time over mating rights right by Castle Mountain. Yeah, it literally sounds like gunfire when they crash into each other. Now, I'm sure you guys have noticed this fence line on either side of the highway over here. It's a wildlife fence, like I mentioned earlier. And this is actually the longest contained highway in the entire world. This fence line starts at the beginning of Kananaskis Provincial Park and ends at the end of Banff National Park, stretching nearly 500 kilometers. And coming up ahead, a couple kilometers, you're going to see the first of 4 wildlife overpasses on the way to Lake Louise. These are what we use to prevent road collisions with wildlife here in the park. It helps greatly preserve a lot of our wildlife, greatly reduce the cost of human lives lost in a lot of these collisions, and also the financial cost of having to send emergency crews all the way out here to respond to one of those emergencies. Just one of these overpasses actually pays for itself within about 20 years. Alright folks, so we are now heading to Lake Louise. Probably point out one more set along the way as we head to Lake Louise. For now, enjoy the ride, guys, and we should be in Lake Louise in roughly about 2.5 hours. I'm just kidding. 40 minutes, we will be there.
2.5 hours, I can get a good nap.
40.
Yeah, 45.
Wow, we can explore, we can embrace the scenery.
That's very good.
লুইসে যাচ্ছি। So when in the summertime you guys are late, and yeah, I mean you guys need to go. It takes midnight to go back to Calgary.
Not every time, but sometimes. Like maybe
So how do like manage people? Like if someone has already booked their flight that night, that person is going to miss that, right?
I mean, it's rare. Like maybe twice last year, it took me till like 11 o'clock or whatever to get back to Calgary. For the most part, like I said, like especially in the winter time, we get back like 95 out of 100 times we get back before 8. But yeah, if someone misses their flight or misses some plans that they made, like I mean, there's nothing we can do. We can't predict the traffic.
Yeah.
We can't predict if someone's going to have an accident and blocks the road for 3 hours, you know. So, I mean, those are just risks that people take when they go on a tour, I guess.
Yeah.
And they should understand as well. It's no guarantee.
I think if you had the trip protection, I think this thing might get covered. I don't know, because those insurance company, they don't really want to like accept any claims.
Yeah.
Man, Rock is so beautiful. I want to stay here for a year
Stay here for a year.
in the Banff. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots to see.
If I in the future if I get a job in Calgary, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. One time a boss started this company, he moved to Calgary, he came every weekend to Banff. And then eventually he was like, why don't I just start a tour company? People love traveling. They're kind of the same, similar at least. Like, Banff is closer, so it's a lot busier. I guess Jasper would have more wildlife because there's a lot less people. So it's more likely chance of seeing animals.
But the hotels in Jasper are so expensive.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, it's quite far away, yeah.
I don't know how expensive the hotels in Banff are.
I think they definitely get up there for sure. In the summertime, it's easily like 1,000 a night just to stay.
Like in the big cities, like in the Calgary, I stayed in a Calgary house hostel. It only cost me like $45 a night.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we have now arrived at the Lake Louise village. Now, Lake Louise is situated at the base of Mount Victoria, named after Queen Victoria, the second longest reigning British monarch in history. Lake Louise is named after Princess Louise, one of Queen Victoria's 9 children. And Princess Louise was actually married to the Governor General of Canada at the time. Now, basically what a Governor General is the British monarchy's representative to a Commonwealth country. So many Commonwealth countries have one country, such as much of the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and of course, Canada as well. Being a Commonwealth country, we have a Governor General. Now, we are all still technically under the reign of the British monarchy. So that if they so choose, so they can actually remove any sitting member of Parliament or even the Prime Minister themselves from office. And any bill that is signed into power needs to be signed by the British monarchy. Otherwise, it automatically gets rejected, even if it was passed unanimously in Parliament. Now, it's very controversial that they have this power in the first place, so that's why they very hardly ever use it. They mostly just act as a symbolic figurehead. But there is this one time when Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning British monarch in history, actually used her powers to reject a bill. In 2005, British Parliament tried to pass a bill getting rid of her ability to reject bills, and she rejected that one. It's the only time in history. Other than that, they usually like to not get involved in any country's political matters. Now, Now, Lake Louise has been known in the Stoney Nakoda Nation's history, the indigenous peoples of these lands' history, for thousands of years. But they used to refer to it as a different name. They used to call it the Lake of Little Fishes because of the small species of trout that exists inside the lake. The first European explorer out to Lake Louise was a man by the name of Tom Wilson. He was led here by one of the members of the Stoney Nakoda Nation in the 1870s. He saw the Lake of Little Fishes and renamed it Emerald Lake because of its emerald color. Now that name only lasted about 2 years. At the time, Canada really cared about the royal family, so they ended up renaming it after Queen Victoria's fourth child, Princess Louise. Now the first recorded death rock climbing in North America actually happened here at Lake Louise. A young man by the name of Stanley Abbott was climbing up Mount Lefroy in the late 19th century. He had fell down and died. The Canadian government, they sort of overreacted, decided to ban rock climbing in the Canadian Rockies. Now, this was at a time before flight to the highest point anybody could ever be was on top of a mountain. That was the main reason why people came all the way out here, was to climb a mountain. So, the Canadian government and the hotels, they came to a little bit of a compromise. People were allowed to climb up these mountains as long as they had a Swiss mountain guide with them. So the hotels, they would hire these mountaineers from Switzerland who were very familiar with this similar type of terrain back home, and they would live and work here at the hotels and bring their wealthy clients up to the top of these mountains. Now that law lasted until about 1954. That is when the last Swiss mountain guide was here at Lake Louise. After that, they don't really care where you go here in the park, as long as you don't need to be rescued. Now, the Chateau Lake Louise, the beautiful hotel situated alongside the lake, you're going to see it and you're going to be like, wow, looks pretty new. Must have been built pretty recently. But no, in fact, it's actually very old. It was built in the 1880s, but it burned down to fire twice. Once in a forest fire in the 1880s, soon after its conception, and then once in a kitchen fire in the 1920s. So none of its original structure remains intact except for the top floor windows, and that's about it. Starts here in Lake Louise, ends in Glacier National Park in Montana, stretching about 600, or not Montana, Glacier National Park in British Columbia, stretching about 600 kilometers across the Canadian Rockies.
Wow.
Many people will have competitions by dog sled to see who can get from one end to the other in the shortest amount of time. And so far the record is about 3 weeks.
Where's the other side?
Glacier National Park in British Columbia.
But did you say Montana?
There's also one in Montana, so I kind of get confused with them sometimes. I guess the one in British Columbia is like Glacier or something. It's French. I didn't just say Glacier. Coming up ahead over here, guys, you're going to see the Chateau Lake Louise, a beautiful hotel situated along the side. Right behind it, you're going to see that gap in the mountain. That is where Lake Agnes is located, in the world-famous tea house. Alright guys, we're now arriving at the parking lot of Lake Louise. Now there are 3 parking lots here at Lake Louise. There's the upper, there is the middle, and then there's the lower parking lot.
আমরা এখন লেক লুইসের দিকে যাচ্ছি। অবস্থা দেখেন কি পরিমাণে বরফ।
ਚਲੋ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਯੋਹੋ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਯੋਹੋ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ
লেক লুইসে চলে আসছি পুরা বরফ হয়ে আছে লেক লুইস দেখেন লেক লুইসের অবস্থা
Take a jacket off.